We talked about this problem, introduced it in the last video. Let me reread it again before I erase the board. Make sure you have it down, and you may want to copy it. Hamburgers sell for $2.75 each. Soft drinks sell for $1.25 each. 609 of these items were sold for a total of $1,109.25. How many of each item were sold? So this kind of word problem, which is what you're learning right now in this chapter, is known as a mixture problem, because we're mixing different rates together. Now, what I mean by rate is the rate in the context of this problem, the rate at which we're selling hamburgers is $2.75 per hamburger, and the rate for soft drinks is $1.25 per soft drink. So a rate is a proportion or a fraction of two different units. For example, dollars per soft drink or miles per hour. Those are rates. And so when you mix quantities of different rates together, then it turns out that lends itself very well to the other math we've been studying in this chapter, which is solving systems of equations. This is why they appear here. And it turns out that by using two or more variables in these problems, which is a very natural approach for setting them up, for expressing this information into an algebraic form, then we end up creating systems of linear equations. And so this is why these problems show up now, is because they're a perfect complement to the other algebra you've been working in this chapter. So we're mixing different rates. These are mixture problems. All right, I'm going to erase the board and begin to solve the problem. Okay, we're back, and going to let H be the number of hamburgers and D be the number of soft drinks. Talked about this step in the last video, that it's, I think, a good idea to define your variable. Now, that's for your use, not for mine as your grader. You know, if you're going to take the trouble to define your variable, then at least look at it once in a while and make sure you've got clear in your head how you're using that variable. And as I stated before, you know, H equal hamburger doesn't mean anything. We're not solving for a hamburger. We're solving for numbers of hamburgers which were sold. And we know what they sell for. They sell for $2.75 each. And so H equals $2.75 also is not helpful, because that's not what we're solving for. And so if you write down what you're solving for, and then as you work through the problem, make sure that you've applied that definition correctly, then you're making very good progress in understanding and successfully doing word problems. All right, now another comment here. I think a lot of students tend to rebel. I can just tell by body language, or people who don't take notes, who just watch me and wait for me to get on with it. When I'm in class, they rebel about the way I do these word problems. And yet, these are usually the students who complain about not being able to work word problems. And so I'm trying in my way to help turn that around. And it very well could be no one has ever talked to you about solving word problems in math like this before by using units. And so if these have been a big trouble for you, or if you're just perpetually stumped by these, then gosh, how about doing something different and listening to what I have to say? All right. I think one of the reasons they rebel is because this looks like work. Well, too bad. Too bad. Sometimes you have to put forth a little work in order to be excellent at something. All right, well, I'll climb off my soapbox and begin to solve the problem now. Now, we had two clues given to us, and the clues are what allow us to solve the problem, to set up the equations. Now, we have two unknowns to solve for, so we need two clues. One of them is that a total of 609 items were sold. And so, what are the items? The items are hamburgers and soft drinks. And so, the H, the number of hamburgers, plus D, the number of soft drinks, is 609 items. Okay, now this, it looks like we're mixing units slightly here. Because I said in a previous video, if you added two cars plus 3 houses, you would get 5 items. Okay, well, we did that here. Because items 609 meant that 609 things were sold at this stand, this little food stand. And so in that case, H number of items plus D number of items gives you 609 items. All right. And then there's the issue of the money that was taken in, the $1,109.25. Okay. So, and let me, again, I'm going to write the units down here, the full equation in all its glory, and then I'm going to rewrite it up here without the units, because I want you to see why this equation comes out the way it does. And so, when it comes to the money we're bringing in, hamburgers sell for $2.75 per hamburger. And I'm going to sell H of them. That's the number of hamburgers. H hamburgers. All right, I should have picked a shorter word. And soft drinks sell for $1.25 per, now I'll just call it drink, $1.25 per drink times D, number of drinks. And that, I put it over 1 because I know some people are more comfortable with fractions when whole numbers are put over 1. It is unnecessary to write over 1 there, but I do that just so some people are more comfortable that way, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. Now that totals up to the total money we took in. And let's see, $1,109.25. Now, how do I know that works? The money I'm taking in, of course, is measured in dollars. And so when I'm working with the hamburgers, I need that word hamburger to cancel off. And so this is what happens here. This denominator cancels that numerator. And over here I need drink to cancel off. And that word cancels down. And so what am I left with? We have $2.75 H plus $1.25 D equals to these dollars. Now, can you add hamburgers and soft drinks to get dollars? I've seen people do things like this. And you know why they don't know they're doing it? It's because they're not writing the units. No, we can't add hamburgers plus soft drinks to get money. Of course not. And we can't add $2.75 per hamburger and get dollars, because that also is a mismatch of units. So, but by multiplying the way I've done here, the units worked out because we can only add dollars to get dollars. As far as these two parts, this is what? This is the money we take from selling hamburgers, and this is the money we take in from selling soft drinks, and together the total money is this amount. All right, so yes, it looks like a lot of work to write that, but I bet if you do that, this chapter, and force yourself to write those words out, at least on some problems, then you'll start to gain some confidence that you know what you're doing. And at some point, you become pretty knowledgeable about this whole working of problems and word problems, applications, and units, that sometimes you can do that stuff mentally rather than have to write it down. But really, it's not a whole lot of work to write that down, is it?